It's a wonderful thing to be a human being, though it doesn't always feel that way. We have a habit of beating up on ourselves. Not surprising, given some of the things that are seemingly hardwired into our DNA. Is humanity just one big sob story? I'm Mike with List 25, and here are the 25 saddest facts about human nature. 25. Pleasure at another person's distress. Admit it. You feel good when some people have bad luck. Celebrity misfortune is everywhere in the media, and we love to read about it. The experts call it Schadenfreude, which is German for harm joy. Sounds contradictory, causing harm and feeling joy, but rest assured, you probably aren't a psychopath. You simply appreciate seeing those with a better life screw it up like everyone else. However, be warned, you might also be suffering from low self-esteem or other mental health issues. 24. Big karma. We get the idea of karma, or a sense of universal balance, from ancient India. The word translates from Sanskrit as action, as in the actions you perform during your life. Then, should you be reincarnated, your new life will reflect what you did before. Even today, those experiencing a lousy existence will wonder what they did in their previous life to deserve such a bad lot. Depending on your view, this belief in karma is either sad and tragic, or inspirational and uplifting. 23. Walking the dogma. Dogma is when someone believes an idea with no room for other points of view. It's an old word, but it's arguably stronger than ever in the 21st century because of social media and such. Another way of thinking about dogma is a person having their blinders on. Originally linked to horses, blinders basically restrict someone's vision. Even the most enlightened people have stuff they believe in dogmatically, subjects they're truly blinded about. 22. Electrocution is preferable. What would you rather do? Be on your own with only your thoughts for company, or give yourself electric shocks? Well, if you selected option 2, then you're surprisingly not a crazy person. In fact, you could be perfectly normal. We know people prefer self-torture to self-reflection because of a study carried out in 2014 by the University of Virginia. Bear in mind, the people taking part in the study didn't like being left alone for as little as 6 minutes. 21. Self-prioritizing. Another sad fact about our nature is that we put ourselves first. Well, at least most of us do. A classic example of this is how a person reacts in an emergency situation. While it's awkward that you trample over everyone to escape from a burning building like George Costanza in Seinfeld, this technically isn't your fault. The urge to take flight from danger is a natural instinct that all humans and animals have. Other signs of self-prioritizing include acting entitled and reacting badly to criticism. Those are things we do have an element of control over. 20. Loss versus gain. We don't really like to lose things as a species. Experts describe this behavior as loss aversion, which can be traced back to the work of psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky in the 1970s. A simple example of this is money. Whenever you make a big financial decision, you're driven more by keeping what you have rather than risking a loss. Even if the gamble pays off, your brain remembers the horrible way it feels to lose money. 19. Altruism Schmaltruism. Do you see wealthy individuals donating a lot of money to good causes and think they're doing it for themselves? That's a cynical way to think, but in some cases, you could be right. There's something called the helper's high, where good deeds equal good vibes. These acts can be motivated by altruism, or purely for someone else's benefit, but there's also the power rush of being a do-gooder to compete with that feeling. Anyone who says they're being 100% altruistic is probably lying. 18. False nobility. Isn't it exhausting pretending to be a noble person all the time? Many of us do that, despite life not being straightforward. The tendency to cut corners when it comes to personal values is another sad fact of being a human being. Let's say your boss has asked you to do something that contradicts your personal or political beliefs. In such a situation, you might do the task and justify it with the excuse that seems noble to you, but is actually pretty lame. And at the end of the day, everyone's got to earn a buck. 17. Suffer not. The closer you are to a person, the more likely you are to feel sympathy when they're in trouble. Feeling empathetic to someone you don't know, such as a homeless person begging on the street, is more difficult on an instinctive level. You might also experience empathy toward people you don't know that well, but who are like you. A gap in empathy is a random reaction because it's ultimately a state. Your current state can switch dramatically depending on what kind of situation you're in. And speaking of situations, if you could like, share, comment, and subscribe, that really helps the channel. So now you're in that situation, so please do all that. I know we say that. I'm amazed by my segue there. Nailed it. I know we say that, but it's because it really does help the algorithm, which in turn helps our channel and helps bring us more helps us bring more videos to you. So I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. 16. Anger is infectious. Do you know that emotions are infectious? A common example is seeing someone laughing and wanting to laugh too. But this infection gets a lot stronger for negative emotions like anger. When someone is angry about something, we automatically take the issue more seriously and become fired up ourselves. 15. Bad memories versus good. Good memories help us enjoy life, but bad ones are more powerful. The so-called negativity bias, written about by researchers Paul Rosen and Edward Poisman, means we focus on the negative at the expense of the positive. Some experts believe we remember negative experiences better due to the way we evolved as a species. When our ancient ancestors were avoiding prehistoric predators and other dangers, their experiences baked negative memories into our collective consciousness as a high priority thing. 14. Masking. God, arrogant people are the worst. Or are they? Pay careful attention because that person who's getting on your nerves might be experiencing their own mental health issues. They effectively wear a mask to make sure you don't see how insecure they are. The same goes for those who are aggressive. How many times have you heard that bullies behave badly because deep down they're insecure? 13. Green-eyed monster. Our possessive nature sadly means we become jealous quite easily. Being a little jealous is probably fine. However, if you fly into a jealous rage or feel consumed by it, there could be something wrong. You might be insecure or scared about something. The causes of jealousy range from ancient ideas of ownership to low self-esteem. 12. Getting jiggy with the Dark Triad. Dark qualities in human beings are sexually attractive. It doesn't make for healthy relationships, but the whole getting jiggy with it thing goes just fine, apparently. One study from 2014 explored the effects of the Dark Triad on women. This trio of traits includes narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, better known as being a douche with a brain. Believe it or not, ticking all the boxes of the Dark Triad makes a guy more attractive. 11. Judging is easy. There isn't much of a difference between how our ancestors recognized their friends and foes and how we do things today. The human brain can work out who's good and who's bad fairly quickly, but it isn't the most reliable system. As a result, we're pretty judgmental. So the next time you feel judgy, don't beat yourself up because, well, it's a natural trait. 10. We love to gossip. Gossip is addictive, but have you ever wondered why we do it or why we enjoy it so much? Psychologists have worked out that gossip is connected to group dynamics and social status. Having information about someone and sharing it in a group gives you some power, whether you're doing it playfully or maliciously. One of the saddest things is that it's more instinctive to gossip than to be kind. 9. Toxic traits. While we automatically judge some people for staying in bad relationships, it should be said there's a psychological reason for someone sticking with their problem partner. One factor that can be overwhelming is the idea, well, you'll be alone if you walk out the door. This also results in you feeling like you failed. With failure comes isolation, sitting in your home, feeling depressed. Many would prefer to stay in a toxic relationship, which is sad. 8. Natural-born liars. It's fair to say that the majority of people think lying is a bad thing. Sometimes you've got to be diplomatic, and there are little white lies, but on the whole, it's frowned upon not to tell the truth. Interestingly, if you take away the risks of your lies being exposed, well, it becomes a lot easier to throw out a falsehood or two. The less likely we are to be caught in lying, well, the sneakier we become, it seems. 7. Procrasti-Nation. Have you ever performed your work tasks getting easily distracted? Or maybe you procrastinate and delay, so you end up doing them super late. The reasons for procrastination vary, from not planning your schedule efficiently to more serious issues such as depression. We like the quick pleasure fix we get from an instant reward, which can take the form of a cup of coffee or a lengthy scroll through social media. The trouble is, you're supposed to be working. 6. The truth hurts. That's why we tend to avoid it. A big matzo ball hanging out there can cause you a lot of stress. Trying to file away any unpleasant truths in the back of your mind isn't the healthiest course of action. Not everyone is a talker, meaning we become bottled up and withdrawn when it comes to our feelings. That truth may be painful, but it might be best to confront it in order to save yourself stress from the emotional impact. I am not a doctor, so I cannot stress the next part enough, but please consult a professional before examining your psychological fears. 5. Blind before authority. Well, bad news for free thinkers. We tend to follow authority figures blindly as a species. There's not much we can do about this, it seems, because the roots of it go back to our ancient ancestors, the days when if you disobey the chief, he'd club you in the head with a dinosaur bone. Nothing wrong with things being ordered, however, you can take it too far. Stanley Milgram was a psychologist who conducted some famous experiments in the early 60s. He established that people followed authority out of a sense of either fear or cooperation. 4. Validation through social media. Surely, one of the worst things about social media is how fast it is. Don't get me wrong, it can be great to receive instant gratification from likes and stuff. Unfortunately, you then expect a rapid response from your posts, and it doesn't always come. Sometimes, it doesn't arrive at all, and this impacts on your sense of personal validation. It's sad that we connect being valid with Instagram and such, but that's just the way things are in the 21st century, I guess. 3. Give peace a chance. Not. Why can't humans stop fighting and appreciate what it means to be alive? Good question. Sadly, we're too sensitive about things that threaten us to ever let down our guard enough. Can you see world peace happening anytime soon? Yeah, me neither. Our natural makeup dictates that there will be negative emotions in response to perceived threats, so a major attitude adjustment is probably needed. 2. Groupthink. How well do you think in a group, compared to when you're on your own? Groupthink is something that leads to poor decision-making, at least according to psychologists. We're naturally inclined to not express opinions that might cause tension among those around us. Being in a group can result in an organizational rush job that wouldn't have happened if people were relaxed and comfortable with saying stuff out loud. Irving Janis from the prestigious Yale University coined the word groupthink in response to this frustrating problem. 1. Relationship abandonment. Is there a worse example of how sad we've become than our approach to relationships? You can find a partner on a dating app where you swipe to find the right person, and it seems we're applying that swipe to real life. The effort just isn't being put in, as we can see when relationships are abandoned over minor issues. People expect the perfect person to arrive fully formed, and it just isn't like that in the real world. Now, human behavior can be a total mystery. And you want to find out about the darker side of human nature? Our new channel, Dark Roast Detectives, tells you shocking and eye-opening stories of true crime, so check it out here, and I'll catch you next time.